All right, so we're going to be going over mixed media. All right, so one thing about mixed media, okay, that I absolutely love is that mixed media takes all of the stuff that you've learned, okay, with all individual medias, and it allows you to put them in like one spot. Okay, so if you happen to love a technique that you're like, for example, you really love stamping, okay, but you're going to be doing a drawing project and you want to draw a picture of a dog, okay, you can actually combine them in this kind of way of art, okay, this form of art. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go into detail each one of these. I would like you to kind of read through. I'm going to give you the cliff notes, okay, so we can kind of get going on this. Mixed media is the idea where you're able to combine different kinds of art mediums, okay? Now, some may or may not work, okay? Some may work in one order and not the other, okay? But you kind of need to kind of experiment with that. So that's what this practice is going to be. It's kind of like to see what can we do, okay? Also, with mixed media, we have layers, okay? We kind of need to see how things work because, yes, this down first and this one works, but this one down and then this one on top doesn't work, okay? Now, why does that matter? All right, so mixed media is kind of like a layer, like almost like a cake, okay? You need a base, and then you need the filling, and then you need a top, okay? So we're going to be actually talking about some of these top accents, all right? But we're also going to be working with what's called an underlayer, okay? A middle layer, which I call the main image layer, all right? And we have accents, all right? Now, accents are these that we're going to kind of be focusing on this are kind of like the, actually, let's see. I might be able to, let's zoom in right here, okay? Let's go in right there, that one. Perfect. So accents are these little bits and pieces, like the words right here, okay? How this actually pops out. Now, they didn't have to. They can make that completely flat, but just popping it up accents this area, okay? Having little, you know, like the texture in the background. That's part of your underlayer. But to have like the, you know, stamping on top to make it look like texture, those are those little accents that kind of make it a little bit more unique, okay? A little bit more creative. A little bit more, I don't know, it kind of shows effort as well too, all right? So, all right, so this is what we're going to be doing today, okay? Now, one thing I want to explain to you about the materials in this, what I am actually going to do is I'm not going to show you all the materials up front. I'm going to show you what you need right before we do this section, okay? So I'm going to actually flip this page over and explain that to you. All right, so how this is going to work is we're going to start off with a section. I'm going to show you the materials, and then we're going to do it, okay? And that's going to repeat. So that will help you when you're working on stuff because, as we know, mixed media has a lot of stuff to work with, okay? And if you are, you know, end of class and you're middle of just one, you don't have a lot to put away, okay? And I would suggest that when you're working with mixed media, you kind of do that same thing, okay? You take a little bit, you work with it, you put it back, all right? Okay, so let's get going. All right, for this next one, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need, your little container is going to have some water in it, okay, new water. Back where you got this, okay, paper, there are two little trees connected, all right? You're going to need one of those trees, all right? A small amount of packing tape, okay, over by the whiteboard. You don't need a lot. You need about the size of your thumb. That's really it. That's all you really need. Okay, I'm gonna actually put that back over there. Okay, it says watercolor. Absolutely fine, but I'm actually gonna use some of the colors from the container that I borrowed. I'm just gonna water it down to give myself that effect. Okay, paintbrush, a stamp. Okay. And that's going to give me just the base for what I need for this one, okay? All right, so here we go. I want to create like a watercolor effect. Now, as we know with watercolors, it's water plus paint. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to load up my brush, borrow a little bit of paint here, just kind of add it. Give it a watercolor effect, okay? Maybe have some darker areas. Not so much, okay? I'm going to even take my paper towel and blot it so it dries. Nice. It's a little dark there. All right, so nothing really too much on the back end, okay? Now, next, what kind of accents can we do that can develop this background, okay? One is we could add a nice cool texture background. Now, same thing, I'm going to use a little bit of that paint. I'm going to kind of do, you know, a little stamping. Add a little bit. Now, I'm not going to make this perfect. There we go. Right? Kind of a few ghost stamps. If you did the mono printing, you kind of know what a ghost stamp is. Kind of like that second stamp that kind of goes over everything. All right, so we have the leftover. I'm going to add some more here. Ooh, that's really cool. All right, so this what happens is you're creating now some texture. You're kind of creating some more interest. This would be really cool if you were maybe designing something like a landscape, okay, and you wanted the grass to have some kind of texture. This would be great. Or if you're drawing a dress, this would be a great way to add some texture, okay? Now, by the way, when you're developing your projects, you kind of need to do it in a certain order, okay? So let's say my goal, okay, my design here was that I wanted to have a tree with a background and possible, like, I don't know, I could have like a poem going in the back, okay? You got to have your plan first, all right? Best way to do it is know what your image is that you're going to put on. What is the goal of the picture, okay? The goal is picture to have a tree with a poem. Then kind of go back and say, okay, this is now what I need to do. I need to set up the background. I need to do my images, and then I need to put my accents on, okay? But the accents, by the way, can kind of be at any point, okay? So this one, I have that here. All right, so we have next. So we have this. Now I want to put this actually on here, but I don't want this white. All right, I found this image. I really want it into my project, okay? So this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to take this out. Whoops. I'm going to close this off. All right. This is how it's going to work. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your tape, and you're going to very carefully place it exactly on top of your image. You need to be careful, okay? Because if not, you get it all kind of, you know, it's weird. After you're done, go in and trim your image. This is the time to trim if you want it to be a little bit neater. Okay. So what's going to happen here is we're going to create our own decal. Okay? Woo, stuck. And how to do that is you take this and we throw it in there. Okay? And what we're going to, our purpose here is to get it really wet. Alright? So this is a printed image. It's just basically printer paper, and I printed it out, or I stuck it in the copier. Okay? What's going to happen is, yeah, it's going to start to curl. And how this is going to work is once it's wet, I'm going to basically peel off the paper. Let me see if I can get it. And it's going to leave the printed part there. just like this, okay? Now you're probably like worried, you're like, well, isn't it sticky under there? No, because what's happening is you got water on it, so it's not gonna be sticky, but once it starts to dry off, it will stick. So what I want you to do is, I'm actually gonna stop this video, I'm gonna complete this, and I want you to do the same thing. I want you to stop the video, I want you to continue getting wet, and peel it off until there's no more of the paper on. Okay, so I'm going to show you the last little bits. Okay, so I took it and I kept going back and forth, dipping it back and forth. Okay, now I'm getting the last little bits off. Okay. Then if you want some of those, you know, extra pieces on, it's fine. Alright. Now, as this dry, the stickiness is going to come back. Now, this is the sticky side, so I'm going to dry the one side, okay? The other side, dry my hands. Just gonna kind of like, just barely get the water off, all right? Because once it starts drying, it's gonna start sticking, okay? All right, so flip that over. Bring that back onto this, all right? You can wave it off. So let's say I want to add this right here. Okay. Now, I can go in and add the rest that I need, okay? So I could draw on this, okay? I can make this, you know, whatever it is I want on this particular image that I'm looking for, okay? So if I wanted something to be in back here, I can make so many things, okay? But that is your accent that you're going to be putting on. It's a decal, okay? All right, so that's how you do this. Remember, take your time, make sure it's all off. You can add it on. And your accents, by the way, for here, like I could go back in and add more stuff on top. Absolutely fine. But that's that. All right, now on to the next. Okay, so for this next little mini piece of art that we're going to do, we're actually going to create semi-transparent paper, excuse me. So instead of the effect where we can see through, we want it to be like transparent, so it actually goes through, but we can still kind of see it's there. All right, so you're going to need 3 markers. You'll need your other tree, okay? You need baby oil. So this is baby oil, all right? By the way, this has been purposely clogged, okay? So if it comes out dripping, that's all that I want it to do, all right? Is like 1 drop at a time. And then you're going to need somehow to actually glue this down. And actually, I'll use the glue sponge for this one, okay? All right, so first thing we're going to do is we came up with this awesome design, okay? And we want to add this tree. Oh, totally forgot. You need some kind of like colored paper, okay? I'm actually going to use some of this more of this butcher block paper, and I'll show you how that works, okay? All right, sorry, totally forgot. All right, so take a moment. And if you need to pause the video, you can. And I want you to color in, doesn't have to be perfect, okay, this design. Okay. So I'm just going to color it in. Now the reason that we're doing this is because I want to show you a technique that you can do that actually involves a few more other things. Okay, so we have that. It's pretty nifty. Let's do some here. As I said, this is not like perfect. This is kind of fast. No, add some blue. Ah, for fast, that's pretty cool. I don't know. Add some excitement to that. All right, so first little detail that you can, definitely consider, okay, is small pieces, okay? You can include other pieces of color on top. Now, this would probably seem overwhelming if I just lay this on, because you're like, oh, you're going to cover it. So I'm going to take this, wipe it on. Okay. Add this in different spots. going to show you how to make something not stand out, how to blend, okay? So right now that kind of like sticks out like a sore thumb. You're like, oh, you ruined it. But here's the cool thing, okay? I'm going to go back out, and actually I have my pen. You can use the marker, and I'm just going to redraw the design over it. And what's going to happen is it's going to kind of almost blend in. Pretty cool, right? It's almost like it's just existed there. So this accent was just added by making it blend within. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Okay, so next one, okay, that we can make something kind of blend in is this. Now, remember how I said originally when to cut it? So this is the time to cut what you need. If you don't want that square look, now is the time to kind of like adjust it. So I want mine to have more of a shape around it, okay? Now, so baby oil, okay? Baby oil, no, it's not. I squeezed baby and I got oil out of it. That's probably not what come out of baby, okay? But it's kind of like this greasy liquid, okay? Now, one thing is when you are using this, the bottle is going to get greasy, so please wipe down the bottle when you're done, okay? Now, as I said, it's purposely clogged, okay? And if it's coming out fast, that means I need to reclog it, okay? So I'm going to pull it open, and what you're going to do is you're going to put 1 drop. Actually, that's 2 drops. That works. And you take this and you're going to paint it. And you're going to get that greasy look that you get on cardboard after eating pizza. Okay. Let me turn this over. And that is the gold that we're looking for. Okay. Now I'm going to take my paper towel. See if I can get it really in. Now I'm on my paper towel just because I want to blot some of this wetness off. There we go. Okay. So it's not super dry, super wet. Okay. Now watch. You're like, what does that do? Look, you can see through it. Isn't that fantastic? So how do we get this down? Glue stick or glue sponge. I'm just happily going to use the glue stick. And actually, I'm not going to use the glue stick because it doesn't want to work. So I'm just going to take this kind of a little bit, move it over, take this, put that on, add it on. Okay, these are great ways to do little accents and little details because you can see through it. It does smell really good. But as you can see right now, it's a little wet right here. So all I have to do is just wipe it down. All right, and that's semi-transparent paper, okay? So you can totally create something on paper, okay? You could even draw something on just like regular printer paper, whatever it is you want to put. We can make it transparent, and then you can place it on top of something, and you'll be able to see through it, which is a really cool thing, okay? All right, let's go on to the next one. All right, so we're on to our almost last one, and this one you're going to need, I know it doesn't say marker, but I'd like you to get a marker, a pen, a word, okay, that's printed from magazine, 2 little pieces of magazine, and some kind of stencil, okay? You can do letter stencils, up to you, okay? All right, so this one is going to be working on words and text, and actually it's going to be highlighting stencils as well. All right, so we're going to start off by building a background. All right, so this background is going to be a little different. One, because I'm going to let you get a little messy here. All right, so I'm going to put down magazines. Magazines are a great way to add in a different kind of surface. Okay, a quick color. Also, I'm going to put that a little bit lower. There we go. Just some neat designs. Here's the messy part, okay? Remember that paint that you kind of borrowed? All right, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to allow you to finger paint. You're like, no. Yeah, so I'm going to take a little bit, okay? Sorry, I forgot to tell you, you need a little paint. And you're going to just wipe. Now, the point here is to wipe it until it's dry. Okay. And when you do that, you can actually do a nice gradation. And when you have paint, paint actually cleans up edges very nice. So it looks like it's seamless. Okay. Gives it a really cool effect. So go ahead, add in, different, spots that you have some paint on. You're probably going to have like one finger that's really messy, okay? You don't want this to be wet, you want it to be dry. So look at that, awesome. Okay, so that's that. So that's actually one kind of technique that you can do to kind of add an accent there. All right, so next, what can we do? So what we're doing is we're kind of building this up, this underlayer. How can we use stencils with this? All right, so stencils are a great way that we can just add on. Okay, so I'm just going to add a few designs here. It could be any kind of design, any kind of stencil. Adds a little bit more texture. Sneakily, you could like spell something out. I don't think I'm spelling anything right now, which is okay. You could do music notes. So let's say you were trying to do something musically here. That'd be really cool. Let's put an O. I don't know why. I just feel like there should be an O here. And I don't know, alright, we'll do one more and that's it. What do we think, people? L, M, L, 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 sit. Alright, so that's how we can use some stencils to add a little bit more depth to your actual project. Now, how do we add some words? Now, words can be amazing in a project. Now, everyone's all hung up, by the way, on how they write, but believe it or not, your writing is so unique when you put it into art that nobody sees it as being, oh, it's messy or it's really nice. Different fonts make for really cool artwork. So let's say I wanted the word more. So this is what I want to add because I'm going to add like a printout. I'm going to write more everywhere. I'm going to write it more, 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 more. I'm writing it all different ways. More, more, more. Okay? Just adds a little bit. You can get creative and you can write it into things. More. Alright? So let's say you could be doing nature, and you could have written all different words about nature within your artwork, and that's really cool. All right, so you can also, another way is like actually find words, okay, and cut it out. So let's say I want to, I don't know, where does it feel? Sometimes when I go around like this, you may see me do this, because I'm trying to find its happy home. Where does it feel like it needs to be? Okay? So ways that you can add words and text. You can definitely write it straight on, okay? It gives it like a really neat, I don't know, it kind of communicates with the actual viewer. Some things that you couldn't probably do with painting, okay? Like if I was doing nature, I totally would add in like, like green, fresh air, stuff that might be stuff that I want them to kind of like experience my art a little bit more. Like, okay, hey, guess what? I want you to read into it too. And then you can also cut it out as well, all right? So that is how you can add a little bit more accents and more details to your project. All right, we made it to the last one. The next is the practice, but before that, I just want to show you how you can add printed images to be your actual accents, okay? All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to need a magazine, okay? Something that probably has just either an image, okay, but the image is actually going to be placed on the cat, okay? So you can find an image, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something to be attached to the cat, okay? You need water-soluble oil pastels, okay? You're going to need a white color pencil and your little dish with water, okay? All right, so first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how these water-soluble stuff work. It's pretty cool. You dip, okay, and you paint. You're like, paint? Yeah, so really cool thing about this is when you dip it, they actually blend really nice. So I want you to take the time, and I want you to go through, and I want you to create a background. Okay. Kind of goes fast, which is really cool. Now this was kind of be important if you were planning this out to do the background first. Alright, because you could always go back in and add the cat. Now I just had the cat there because, well, it's practice. But you can make that cat on a separate piece of paper, cut him out, and then apply him. Or you could make him to be a stencil, and then just paint him in. Alright. Oh, we need some stuff around. There we are. He needs some pink. This is a wildcat. Now, someone, I'm sure, is probably going to ask me, like, hey, can you move this around with the paintbrush? You can. So if you wanted a light look, you could totally do that, too. It's not, like, perfect, like oil pastels. This feels more like watercolor that you can easily overwork an area. Very simple. Alright. So there we are. That is my cool cat. It's very cool. Alright, so make sure that you got a really neat background. Now, how can we add on more than this? Okay, so first thing you're going to do is the white pastel. I don't know if you know, but white pastel works really nice on black paper or any kind of color paper, okay? It just brightens up. Also on paint. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do some designs. Because just because it has to be a silhouette doesn't mean it has to be boring. I don't know, add more here. Alright, so this is kind of a cool cat. It's a cool cat. I love it. Alright, sorry. There we go. So you can add designs on there. It kind of adds more to the funkiness of it. Now, how can we add little accents of paper? Alright, so for here, this cat is so cool that this cat is going to have a scarf. Alright. Now, in the beginning of this packet, you saw that the girl had roses in her hair. That's actually magazines, okay? Someone cut them out of a magazine. So what I'm going to do is I want to make this cat have, let's see. So I'm probably going to need something like this. Think that be? Yeah, that's good size. It's so cool. Make some fringe on this cat's thing. Wrinkle it so it's there. And by the way, you can always add little bits of things where it pops up, but just don't go too crazy, okay? Alright. Like for example, if you want to add like tissue paper, okay? Tissue paper, by the way, yes, can be see-through, okay, when you glue it down. But another cool effect that you can do with tissue paper, by the way, which I didn't go over here, is if you glue it, you use it on the glue sponge, and you tap it down, you can wrinkle it and take the soft pastels and go over it, and it gives a really cool effect. Now check them beans out. That is a really cool cat, okay? So, really neat. So I did a magazine as the accent here, okay? And you have more accents on the silhouette instead of just being black and like this voided area. It's a little bit more excitement here, okay? All right, on to our last. Okay, so this is the very last thing that you're going to do, and I know that the other ones took a little time, just probably going back and forth and putting stuff away. But whatever one that you were enjoying, okay, what I would like you to do is kind of develop your own little mixed media, all right? This should not take you more than 10-15 minutes, okay? If it's taking you 10-15, like more than that means you're actually creating a full-on focus project, okay? So now that you have explored various ways to develop art with accents and embellishments, it's time for you to create a mini piece of art. Okay, your focus or your image is going to be nature. So do all things nature. Include an underlayer, okay, main image, and then I want you to include 3 different techniques that we learned here. Now, there are lots of different techniques that we learned in here. You don't have to necessarily use, excuse me, I'm sticking, just the accent. You can use other things within here that we went over as well, okay? And include them in there and see how it goes. When you're finished, just take a picture of them and you're good to go. Make sure, remember all of these. Please make sure everything goes back because mixed media is phenomenal. Just look how cool you guys just made stuff, right? But it's got a lot of little pieces, okay?